All right, hey everybody, welcome to Friday Update number 7. We don't have a number 7 in Canada, but we have a number 7? Did you raise? No, I don't know. Lucky number 7. We have number 7, we got Ulf Viney here from Viney Ranch down here in Murrieta. Ulf, hey, thanks for sitting in and filling in the Friday Update gap here, man.
Yeah, I know, you didn't have a lot of choices, so.
Well, these guys weren't any help.
Nobody else wanted to do it, so it's just me.
All right, well, let's kind of let everybody know what's going on here. You're obviously originally from Ottawa, Canada.
Yep.
Talk about the move. Was it strictly business, or was in the back of your mind, oh, this would be really good for motocross? You moved from here to Morgan Hill up in Northern California. How did that all happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of started with the work opportunity. I'm involved in the technology industry and was working for IBM in Ottawa at the time. And
I've heard of that.
Yeah, you know, so I had an opportunity, and I kind of, thought to myself, like, there's only a certain amount of jobs, and to kind of grow my career in Ottawa, and there's a number of different places that I could have gone. In fact, I had a couple of job interviews down in North Carolina. IBM has a pretty big, offices there and a lot of employees there as well. But an opportunity kind of surfaced in California, and I did think, like, this will be a great opportunity for both Bjorn and Noah to kind of experience motocross at the highest level, and also in the software industry, if there's sort of no better place to be than Silicon Valley. Yeah, that's the place to be. So.
Okay, and then so you're there for a while. We're talking like 9-10 years ago. You made that move. So?
Yeah, we left in 2013.
Oh, okay.
We got in our RV in November and drove to California. Kind of made a trip out of it. We had sold our house in Ottawa, and we were moving into corporate housing.
Okay.
So the company that I was starting to work for had sort of set up some corporate housing for us, but we just kind of packed everything into our RV and our trailer, and then, like, the moving truck kind of put everything in storage, and we headed out to California.
Nice. Okay. So Northern California. I spoke earlier this week. We talked with Noah. We talked about the racing up there. He talked about some of the racing back in Canada that he remembered, and so the racing there, and then. What happened to move down here to, motocross Mecca here? Yeah,
I mean, it's so, like, these things kind of just build, right? Like, when you look back at it, you're like, wow, I made this decision and that decision, but things sort of just built. There was a foundation that started at a little motocross track near where we lived in San Jose called 408 MX. I got a t-shirt on with 408 MX. It's no longer open. They closed that track, but it sort of started there for us, and we kind of progressed. The kids progressed. They were riding more now. They were riding throughout the year, and then we started just kind of choosing, like, opportunities with racing. Mammoth was one of the biggest races that we had done, and then we were like, oh, let's go try for Loretta's. We actually hadn't done any of that back home in Canada, so. Yeah, that's where it started. Obviously, we live just outside of San Jose area. It's actually pretty hard to ride there. There's not that many tracks in the area.
Okay. A lot of driving?
A lot of driving. We drove down to Zaka Station. We drove north up to Hangtown. A bunch of tracks up there. We did a lot of riverbed riding. In the winter, like when it rains, we get really good conditions up in the Hollister area. And
classic Hollister Hills.
Hollister Hills, and we'd head out into the riverbeds and do a lot of riding. So we just kind of experienced a lot of different things there.
Right. Okay. Now the move here. I mean, like I mentioned, now we're in we're right in the backyard of everything. Actually, you go over there, I could throw a rock and almost hit the KTM group buildings over there. Here we're in this house. This property has some history too. I mean, there's that over there. Talk about how the heck did this all come
about? Things really, I guess, sort of progressed and escalated when I realized at work that I could have the opportunity where I could continue to work up in Silicon Valley, but we could live here and I could commute. And I was flying like every single week. So yeah, I mean, that's what we're thinking. I'm kind of going ahead on the story, but what happened was we were starting to look at properties here, and Cheryl and I kind of would come down. We were obviously driving down to Southern California often to race and to train. And it's a long drive. It's about 6 hours. And a friend of mine sent me an Instagram post about Ronnie Feist selling his property. This is Ronnie Feist's old property. Some people who remember MTV will remember that this was in MTV.
This is
Cribs.
MTV. This is a Cribs one?
This is Cribs. My neighbor tells me all the stories about what actually happened here, and there's some pretty crazy stories. There's a little poster up here of McGrath, Jeremy McGrath, and amazing opportunity. We actually did a filming here in photographs with Jeremy McGrath in September on our Supercross track. So the boys, Noah got to meet him, and yeah, this property kind of came up. We drove down like almost immediately. We had like just been looking at homes, just like different kind of setup. I was like, I don't really want to have a track, and I'll leave that to the experts. But we came out and visited this place early in the morning. I saw the property, I saw the view. You're sort of right in town, as you know, like you've been here a couple of weeks now.
Is that all it's been?
And a lot of people come visit us here, but we're right in town. In fact, we're about a mile and a half from KTM headquarters, KTM Supercross track, and so we're not like out of town really. We're right in town, right? But we have a lot of land and a lot of land around us, and so we purchased this property from Ronnie Feist. I put in an offer. I sent him a letter explaining what we were going to do with the property, and then we got it, and then we just started putting a lot of work. There was he had ramps here and a big, huge landing, but there wasn't a Supercross track here.
Okay. There wasn't a really?
No,
okay,
there was just sort of. The property hadn't been lived in for a while, so there was like a lot of work for Cheryl and I to do when we first moved in, and then we built a track. I'm going to say about 3 months after we moved in, and it was a very like sort of hybrid Supercross outdoor track. And then I realized all these different steps. Like I had to get a watering system. Well,
this is all new to you, obviously.
This is all new. Like I've never had a track before. It's like sort of like everything. Like when I started with motocross, people at Sandali will know like where I started. It was I didn't actually know where the air filter was on a bike. And they were telling me you got to change the air filter.
Look at you now.
Change the air filter. Everybody knows those stories that knows me from Sandali, but yeah, it's just like everything is just brand new. And when the track first got built, we actually had to empty the pool. We didn't have enough water. It was dry. It was crazy. Like I'm like, this is nuts. Cheryl was like, what is this guy doing? She's been saying that for about 25 years. But we emptied the pool to build the track, and just, we realized we needed a water reservoir. So we had a water reservoir system built with a vacuum pump, and got, water out to the track everywhere.
Not to mention equipment.
Yeah, and then I was actually out there hand raking the track and shoveling it. Had the boys out there with me. And I'm like, I gotta get myself a skid steer, and ended up, getting a skid steer, and then it just progressed from there. We've done 4 builds now in the last 3.5 years, and the Supercross track that we have now is about a minute. The fastest is Cole Thompson on it so far that I've seen, in a minute 4.5, and Noah's about a minute 6 his fastest lap time on our Supercross track. So it's a long track. Very large track, and a friend of mine helped me build it. His name's Sonny Leonti. But I do all the prep on it pretty much. And
look back in the videos, you'll see his
yeah, you guys will see it. Yeah, I mean, when I started, I didn't like. I look at these photos because you get Facebook and Instagram shows you history, and it shows you like look at my prep, looks so great, and it's like terrible. Like if I look at it now, I'm like, that's amateur hour. But 650 hours in the machine, that I put into it, and I've become pretty good at it.
Wow, and you were mentioning the changes in the track. I was talking with Josh Hill, who was out here last week. Unfortunately, he's hurt. Get well there, Josh. He was saying how he'd been here before. He noticed the progression, right? You keep progressing, and you notice the progression with Noah, obviously.
Yeah.
Like that. It's just perfect for him to progress, and next thing you know, he's going to be racing full on.
Yeah, honestly, like before anybody said anything to me, I'm like, I gotta get an opportunity to teach the boys how to ride Supercross, because Supercross is a huge part of California. It's a huge part of obviously just the whole industry, and for athletes, they have to be good at it. And I was like, as an amateur, you never get access to these tracks. You have to be a pro to ride these tracks. So, you're always searching for this opportunity to ride a Supercross track, and that's really why I thought so much about this property and how useful it would be. And like you said, the track progressed. Each build has become more complex, more technical. We have 8 lanes in this track. We have 15 whoops, and 14-foot center whoop. So but each track was like slightly more technical, and I think it's really helped Noah progress, and Bjorn, when he was riding it, helped him progress as well.
Okay. Hey, now we got to mention this too. Now, how did the whole connection come with Ryan Hughes? You got Ryan Hughes as a trainer, and he's become obviously a close friend and stuff like that. How did that all happen? Yeah,
the interesting story, so Ryan saw Noah riding at State Fair. He talked to Hoodie, his old mechanic from when he was a pro. Hoodie knows us really well. He runs DT1 filters.
Do you know why they call him Hoodie?
Yeah, I don't want to get into it here. Let's just say.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So we kind of got connected, and at the time, Noah had just gotten off a really big injury at Loretta's with a burn, and we just started riding again, and just I felt like it was time to really take it seriously. I was really looking for a trainer who had the experience to connect with Noah and take it seriously. And so we invited Ryan here. We started chatting, texting back and forth. He came up to our Supercross track, saw Noah ride it, was very, very interested in training Noah. So kind of just went from there. Interesting, as it progressed pretty quickly. So we started training with him in December. We were riding out, Rhino has a property out on Highway 79 outside of Temecula. For those of people who know this area, that's sort of heading east out of Temecula towards the Palomar Mountain, and you got tracks out there like Kahia Creek, etc. And Ricky Johnson owned a property out there that we would ride, and it was a very, very technical, very rough, beat up track. But Ryan wanted it introduced once a week. And then after a couple of weeks, I was like, man, I'm paying a lot of money to Ricky Johnson for this track. So I asked Ryan for his number and started texting Ricky, and we ended up going out for coffee. And I told Ricky that I'd really like to buy that property. What would you sell that property?
This is a pretty funny story. I like this story.
Yeah.
Although I'm good on Ricky's side.
Yeah. So
it's the Ricky Johnson. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I won't go too into that, but he's a really nice guy, and we just started chatting about it. And funny story, working in Silicon Valley, I was taking an Uber to San Francisco Airport in 2014, and the Uber driver was telling me about crypto and telling me about you need to get into crypto, you need to start buying a Bitcoin. And I ended up buying a couple Bitcoins and ended up purchasing the track with Bitcoin, which is
still doesn't know what it is.
Great. So I turned something that maybe isn't worth actually anything into land, motocross track. So we ended up getting that motocross track, which is about 35 minutes from the house here, and it's 22 acres. And
sweet out there.
Yeah, you had a chance to be out there, and it's beautiful. Like tomorrow, we're going out there and doing testing, suspension testing. Just gives us an opportunity to have a really rough track that we can leave the way we want it. And I have prepped it once in the last year. Right. I prepped the Supercross track religiously, and lots of people make fun of me for that, but the motocross track stays really rough.
As it should be. It's perfect. Perfect training and everything. Okay, now I gotta ask you, what is next for this place? What's the goal here? I know you've got some plans.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully I'll be back next year.
Yeah. Right now, our plans. We have a lot of kids that come and stay with us, and ever since we moved here from Canada, we've had Canadians come. We've had riders from all over the world stay here, and it's just something that Cheryl and I like to do, and. Hopefully we can help some of them, and some of them it's just great for Noah to have to train with and ride with. So we are planning to build a shop and an apartment that will give an opportunity for some people to stay here. As far as the track goes, obviously continue to progress the track. I think we are looking to build some more whoops to give Noah a chance to kind of start learning how to blitz them. Right now he's jumping the whoops, so probably just keep progressing the track and collecting dirt whenever I can from various sources. I'm looking for some sand to add to the track, and we have a little turn track at the side as well. So.
All right. Well, did Bjorn send a question for you?
Yeah, Bjorn. I was just chatting with Bjorn. So Bjorn's a couple of weeks away from coming back from Korea, his first deployment with the U.S. Army, and he's going to join us out at Freestone. And
are you going to let him race or no?
No, I'm not going to. He's been asking me to race, and he's been off a bike for 2 years, and I'm like, no, it's a terrible idea, and he's really upset with me. I said, I want to see written approval from the Army that you're allowed to race.
Oh yeah, maybe he's not.
He's like, oh yeah, I'll get that for you, and he's been telling me that for about 2 months now. But Bjorn said his question was for Noah was, why do I call you, or why do I call almost every morning at 7 o'clock in the morning? And of course, he's calling because he wants Noah to get up and go for a run.
The drill sergeant, so I said to Noah.
Yeah, he's a drill sergeant, and it's funny because obviously Bjorn was training like Noah was training, and now he has like a quote unquote real job, and I think he looks back at the time that he had training and he misses it, and he realizes that
he's the best trainer over there doing what he's doing.
Yeah, he's great at what he does.
Doing that.
But he looked like there's sort of nothing that's given him the thrill that motocross did, and he's done all kinds of different things with the Army and all kinds of different training and exercises that they do, but he really does not want Noah to sort of miss this opportunity, and he calls as a reminder of what he has and what he has to fight for.
Does Noah listen to him?
He actually does.
That's good.
Yeah, believe it or not, he does. I think the combination of Noah and Rhino is, I think, kind of unique, especially for what I've seen from Noah in the last year and a half. So I think the combination of that, and then of course Bjorn reminding and calling him and telling him about what he will miss out on if he doesn't put 100% effort into it, because that's what it takes, right?
And it's coming from someone who Noah would listen to, a big brother. Yeah. It's different than a parent saying something. It's there's a different relationship with your brother,
right?
Older brother who's kind of been there, done that, and now looks back. So it's kind of cool that Noah can actually absorb that as opposed to what some kids do. They're it's kind of tough sometimes.
Yeah, I mean I'm on my boys, like I was on Bjorn, I'm on Noah. I expect lots out of them. We put a lot of effort in, Cheryl and I, and everybody around him. But what I'm seeing is that he's kind of rising to that, and he's putting the level of effort in, and it shows in his results.
Well, that's awesome. Well, let me just say thank you very much for having me here. The time here has been amazing. It's been fun hanging out. Anything else you need to mention here before we wrap it up? No, I'm really thankful to have you down here. I think we miss Canada, and we get a chance. We had I throw in as many A's as I could. And sorries.
I do I try the accent out every once in a while. But we miss our parents-in-law, like Peter and Maggie. We miss them, and they've been kind of stuck in Canada because of COVID. But we did have Tyler Medaglia down. He raced the Fox National, and he got to stay here. And
that was when you were a contributor for Direct Motocross.
I was. It was such a fun weekend. It was like such a great time. I loved it, and got to meet one of his friends as well through that. And then we had Cole Thompson here for a number of weeks training with Noah. And I didn't really know Cole very well before this particular last set of weeks that we had training Supercross, and it was awesome to have him. And it's we miss Canada, and we hope to, if everything goes well, we hope to do some races up there.
Right. I asked Noah that question about with the borders, if they open up and everything, which looks like they are. Sandali National would be kind of cool to do.
Yeah, we love Sandali, and I don't think we realized how amazing it was until we left. But just the group of people that we met there, Kevin Tyler and his whole crew. It's an amazing place, so I'd love to go back.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, well, hey, thank you very much, and thanks for doing this. Thanks for filling in for number 7. You're number 7 now, but career number 7.
That's awesome.
In Canada, so you've got the number. I've okayed it.
Okay.
I've run up the flagpole. All right.
Wait till they see me ride. Taking it away.
Don't worry about that. I'll take care of that. All right. Thanks, everybody. This is Ulf Viney, Viney Ranch.
Thank you.